Hello, this is the Provoked Prawn, and I want to talk to you about how to get replies from YouTubers. And I'm talking specifically about getting replies to your comments on YouTube videos, whether you've got a question or you just want to get some engagement out of your favorite YouTuber. I want to talk to you about it from a YouTuber's perspective, the things that I see and the tools that I use in order to read through comments and reply, and why certain things might mean that your comments or questions never get seen or never get answered. I see a lot of people saying things like, please reply, please respond, doubt you'll see this, or sort of suggesting that YouTubers just won't reply to comments because it's something we don't do. Now, obviously, we do get a lot of comments, and I'd imagine even bigger YouTubers get even more comments than I do, which means that sometimes it'll be difficult to reply. But I personally take a lot of time to reply to comments and try to reply to as many as I can and be as helpful as I can. And that's for a few different reasons. One, I really like to help people and get the interaction going there. Two, it helps with engagement, because if I'm replying to you, you're replying to me, Google will see that as a good sign, and it will help boost the video in the algorithm and in the search results, meaning the video will get more views. So engagement and replying to comments is good, beneficial for both of us. You hopefully get an answer, and I get something out of it too. But also I just generally like helping people. And so I try to be as helpful in that way as I can. And I actually spend multiple hours probably during the week going through YouTube comments in various parts of my day, morning and throughout the day, just going through those comments and trying to reply. It's not always possible, obviously, but there are some things which will mean that I don't see those questions, or I can't answer them, or maybe I won't answer them. And some obviously rude comments that will just get shadow banned and hidden from view entirely. Now, I can only speak for myself and the way I operate, but I'd imagine that a lot of this will apply to other YouTubers as well. The main tool that we use for replying to comments and interacting with our videos in general is YouTube Studio, which the average person who doesn't have a YouTube channel wouldn't know and wouldn't use, but it is quite a bit different from YouTube itself. Now, you can get the Studio app on your phone and on your desktop, and I have it on both, and I try to reply from comments on there as often as I can. I often find myself scrolling through the comments in the morning and throughout the day and then looking at them. But there are a few things to be aware of. And actually, Studio is probably better than the YouTube app in alerting me to comments, getting notifications through there. I find the YouTube app a bit hit and miss in terms of what it says in terms of comments and replies and things like that. It's not great. So I'll stick to Studio. However, there is something to bear in mind, and that is that if you go into the comments section on YouTube Studio, as default, it's automatically applied to have a filter on it to show comments where I haven't responded. So it will show any comment or question listed there where I haven't replied to them already. So what I'm saying there is it's important basically to get your question answered on the first try, because if I reply to it and then you do a follow-up reply to that asking another question, it's probably not going to get seen. But that's because when I reply, it's then hidden by YouTube Studio for the future, so that when I go back, you're not then seeing the same questions over and over again, which is useful in my regard in that, you know, you can see the comments and get to the most recent ones, but not so useful for you if you're trying to get a reply to a question. So my first tip is, if you want to get a reply from a YouTuber, be as concise as you possibly can with the first question that you put in. So the comment that you put in, make sure it's concise and you are clear on what you want. Don't write a million words and go into loads of depth on various different things. Try and be clear about what you want. Make it easy to understand. If you make a really long multi-paragraph question with multiple part questions, I'm probably not going to answer them. Or if I do, I might not be following up. And that's because if I have to reply to you, because let's say you put a complicated question in and then I ask, did you mean this, talking about that specific thing, but you didn't, you meant entirely something else, then when you reply, I probably won't see that reply, and then I won't be able to reply to your question and solve your problem. So you need to be as concise as you possibly can with the first question, so that I can then follow up either with a video that I've made, which will clearly explain and help with your problem, or reply to your question and comments. The other thing there, though, I do want to say to bear in mind is that I am not Google, because I do get a lot of questions, which is a very specific and niche question, which is like, will this radiator fit in this specific case? And I have not even tested that radiator or that case, so I can't answer that question. You could just go and Google it and look at the specs and find out the answer for yourself. I recently did a video on how M2 drive, a Gen 5 drive in your motherboard in the top slot on a specific motherboard could impact the number of lanes on that graphics card, meaning that it doesn't get as many PCIe lanes. And then I got loads of questions of things like, well, can I use this Gen 4 drive in this other motherboard with this graphics card? And the answer is, I don't know. You'd have to look at the specifications of your motherboard. I could go and Google that for you and find the answer, but that's silly and I'm not going to do that. The other thing to bear in mind is that YouTubers aren't there to offer free tech support or even free support in general. Yes, I will try and help you out as much as I possibly can, but there is no monetary reward for doing so necessarily, and not a massive incentive to do it. So some YouTubers might not want to reply because they're busy. So I am obviously making videos on a daily basis. This is my job. It is what I do. If I spend all my time answering comments, I'm not making videos. So then you've got to have a return on investment on that. So it sounds a bit selfish, obviously, but just take that as you will. One thing I want to say is don't message me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or wherever else you might feel like you might get an answer. And the reason for that is often I won't see those messages. If you are messaging me on Instagram, for example, as sometimes people do, I probably won't see it. I don't have the app installed on my phone for my own personal reasons. And also, if I'd go into Instagram and look at the messages, often your questions are then filtered into spam or requested messages, and they're hidden miles away from view, and they're a pain to get to. And then when I do get to them, it's usually a really specific question again about a really specific thing. And again, if I spent all my time on Instagram answering questions, I'm then not making videos. And there's no real reason for me to do that because there's no engagement and no boost. Again, I don't want to say that replying to questions is purely selfish and I'm only doing it for extra views, but you do need to bear in mind that if people are answering questions in one place, they're not doing the things that they want to do in other places. Also, keep in mind that we're not just YouTubers. I am a dad as well, so I'm busy with other things beside making videos and answering your questions, and other YouTubers may well be too. That said, I do have a Discord, so if you want to check the link in the description and head over to my Discord, if you do want to answer any questions that you didn't get answered on YouTube because I missed the reply, for example, or if you just want some help, pop over there. I've got a bunch of friendly people in there that are willing to help as well. So if I can't answer your question, maybe someone else can. And it's just a nice place to get involved there as well. The other thing to bear in mind is if you're asking silly questions or you're trying to get freebies out of me, then it's not going to happen. I am not here to offer free tech support, but I'm also not here to build you a gaming PC or to give you free things. So if you put a comment like that, you're not going to get a reply from me, unfortunately. And that is what it is. Another tip that I would say is perhaps obvious now based on what I've suggested about comments being filtered in YouTube Studio. But one of the things that I've noticed people doing is replying to replies of other people's. So if someone leaves a comment, I reply to it, and then someone else completely different also replies to that, hoping to get a reply out of me. Those people are not going to get a reply out of me. Also, if you see a pinned comment by me and then you reply to it open, you'll get a reply out of me. That kind of seems logical from a viewer point of view, but actually it doesn't work because, again, those replies are hidden by YouTube Studio and I just don't see them. Yeah, I don't get the notifications in YouTube itself. They're just not there. So actually that doesn't work. And sometimes even if you use @ so if you use the @ symbol and Provoked Prawn, I won't get notified about that either. So generally speaking, the best way to get a reply from me, and probably from other YouTubers, is a brand new comment. A brand new comment, a brand new question, that'll appear in the comments section and it won't have any filtering applied to it where I've already replied to that question. So that can be the best way to do it, which might seem counterintuitive, but that's one way to do it. So that will help. Obviously, one way to get a reply from YouTubers is not to insult them or leave stupid, rude comments, because you'll probably just get shadow banned, which is where you can click a button in YouTube Studio to hide a user from their channel. They then can't be seen by anybody. So anybody that leaves aggressively, unnecessarily stupid comments about me or anything else will likely get shadow banned, and that'll probably be the same for a lot of other YouTubers as well. That doesn't mean that I don't leave some negative comments, and I certainly am open to criticism, so I will leave those and use them for inspiration for creating future videos and improving the way I do things. So don't feel like you can't say negative things. And also, if you say nice things, then obviously you're more likely to get a reply. But I might see the nice things. So if you start with a nice thing and it's a really long nice thing and then you put a question at the end, I might actually miss that because I might just think, oh, this person's being lovely and I'm really happy about it. But then I just move on and I don't see the question. So maybe start with the question, then the niceness. So these are all quite specific things to me, but I think it's important to sort of cover them and talk about them and suggest the best ways to get the question answered or just to get your comments seen. Hopefully you found this useful. If you have, just remember that commenting can really help as well. So I do appreciate the comments, even if they're not questions, because it will help improve the number of views the videos get in. And also maybe you ask a question that someone else wanted the answer to, and there it is. So that'll help. And I'm closing in on 100,000 subscribers. So if you're seeing this and you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button to help me out, eh? Thanks very much for watching. You've made it right to the end of the video, you brilliant legend you. If you've enjoyed it, click that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and drop me a comment down below if you've got any questions. If you really enjoyed it, consider joining the channel and see the benefits of doing so. Check out these other videos, you might well find them interesting or useful, and most importantly, have a great life.